live poetry event happening for maybe the first time in like 2 years. How's everybody doing? That was a little better. Thank you so much. I just want to let you know that over here in this corner, Adam Grabowski is making poetry on demand, creating poems just for you on a typewriter, so you can line up and get in line to get a poem on demand. Additionally, there's poems inside and poetry games inside if you want to check those out too. The Florence Poetry Society is going to be reading some poems up here, so don't go anywhere. Make sure you find your way to the front as well, because there's some activities in the front for kiddos. So make your way around all the areas. And I hope you're all having a lovely day and enjoying the weather. And we'll talk soon, all right? Keep having a good day.
Where's the poetry being read?
Right here, at this microphone.
Right there?
Right here.
What time?
1:30-ish. I would assume that the Florence Poetry Society is the first people on the mic.
1:30.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a carnival. It's a poetry carnival. There's no rules.
Okay.
Say to fresh air and sunshine. What do you say to love? I say yes to love. I say yes to poetry. I say yes to festivals and fun and carnivals. Carnival. Carnivale. It's a beautiful thing. I'm Tommy Twilight. I'm the Florence Poets Director. And we're going to read a few poems, and we're going to get some Florence poets up here to read some poems, and then we're, yeah, I like that. Give it to me, baby, give it to me. All right. So I want to thank, I think Rachel is the main thing that brought this together here, but everyone who's participating and bringing poetry to life here in Florence, it's a beautiful thing. At 2 o'clock, I'm going to do a poetry flaneur around Florence. If anyone wants to join us, come see me after we read. So that'll take it's about a 1 mile thing. It's going to hit some historic Florence spots. We're going to read a few poems and wander around Florence, this beautiful city, this beautiful village that has such a beautiful history of freedom of thought and freedom from yeah, all that stuff. All right, let me read a few poems. Flowers for a make-believe girl. The wind blows. That's all you've got to show for 40 years of loving her. Rain falls. Cold pricks your skin. A cold wall surrounds you like prison. And now you couldn't care less about scripture that clunks hollow words. All along you knew what was coming. All along, wasn't it obvious that she wasn't really there in the moonlight? You thought it was her. You brought her flowers gripped in your fist. You brought her flowers. Every day goes by like every day before, and the more it snows, the less it rains. Once upon a time, there was a girl who couldn't resist the flowers in your mind. Yeah! Thanks. So what a beautiful day today. I can't believe that it didn't rain. Every poem in this book is about rain. Every single poem. And this is why the sun is shining today, I'm sure. But that's okay, because we love that. We love the sunshine and the flowers and the springtime. This one's called Toro. Toro is the bull. Taurus is the bull. I am the bull. I drag my carcass around the ring, my nose in the dirt. Is this what my blood smells like? Is this the taste of death? I am dizzy from the heat. But I do not care. I am the bull. There is a cacophony of trumpets, a glitter of sequins and colored silk. I dance your idiot ballet, choreographed in your stupor, guided by your hypnotic hand. I do not drag my carcass around a wing. There's a wagon for that. Those horses with their puny riders are not my friends. Remember this. They will thrust their pikes into my back, soften my spirit for the kill. You are not the bull. I am the bull. I was born a beast. Yesterday I gazed on the sweet grass. The fields belonged to me and I took them all. Every last one. The sun warmed my face. The moon gave me counsel. The rain blessed me. I am the bull. I will fight though I cannot win. Do not fool yourself that I have a chance. But this is better than the slaughter factory. I am brutal and simple, but I'm not dumb. I will gore you if I can. My chest heaves with effort, muscles rippling flesh. This spectacle is for your benefit. I hope you enjoy your steak. The victory is yours. You are not the bull. I am the bull. Thank you. So the title of this book is 50 Words for Rain. I'm going to read the title poem for you.
Oh, yeah. Is it haiku?
No, it's not haiku, but could be, except it's really long. It doesn't have the right number of syllables and stuff.
50 words for rain.
Yeah,
Something like this.
yeah,
Oriental.
it is. 50 words for rain. Sprinkle, shower, torrent, drizzle, deluge, cloudburst, thunderstorm, nizzle, cats and dogs, hammer and nails, monsoon, hurricane, tropical depression, beat down, lash down. It's gonna blow, spit, downpour, piss down, precipitate, precipitation. Spring rain, Irish rain, ice rain, gentle rain, summer rain, cold rain. South-soaked, sopping, soggy, dripping, pluvial mist, Scotch mist, rainfall, raindrops, dewdrops, dew. It's a fine day for ducks. God is bowling, Satan raining pitchforks, coming down in buckets, raining frogs, raining locusts, pitter-pat drum beats washing us clean. It's all a dream, because the world and everything in it is made of rain. The veins in your arm, the rivers and stream, the branches of the tree. In the beginning, God made the earth, beautiful gardens, rivers and mountains, all the animals and people with stars at night and sunshine every day. God was pleased with himself. He had done good work, but things were not good. There was trouble in paradise. The garden was drying up. The river was dying, and the animals were dirty and sick. People were terrified. They began to quarrel and fight and curse God. God didn't know what to do. The paradise he had made was falling apart. They say God doesn't make mistakes, but this was a big one. He had forgotten to make it rain. God was bereft. He wept bitter, copious tears. And so the problem was solved, and the world continued, because only God can make it rain. I believe this is what happened to Mars. It stopped raining, and everything just dried up. We keep sending spaceships up there to look for water, but all they can find is desert, dust storms, dry canals. And that's why the Martians came here a long time ago. So you'd better hope it never stops raining here on Earth. That's why we call it liquid sunshine. Ask a farmer sometime. He would tell you too much of a good thing can be bad for the crops and the psyche. And floods are bad too. But once upon a time, people who lived in the Nile Delta prayed for those floods every spring. So balance is important. That's why I pray for balance and I pray for rain. Just remember this. God's tears can be tears of joy as well as tears of sorrow. Thank you.
Hey. Right here out in the southwest.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
You know this.
Yeah.
I'm not out of my mind.
No, you're not.
I can see it coming.
Yeah, right.
We're going to dry up, and this is bad. But, I mean, you and I might not see that, but
No, I'm not. I'm 83 already.
future generations, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah, right.
are going to be in trouble. Unless we change our ways a little bit.
Oh, I don't think that'll
Probably not.
keep me from death.
All right, so we're going to continue on with the Florence poets, and my next poet is my good friend Lori DeRochers, and she's going to come up and read a few poems for us. And then we're going to have Jane Johnson, James McFrades Johnson, I believe that's correct. And then my friend Rufus Jaffe.
Hi, everybody. Hi. This is so nice to go to an event, and it's outdoors, and the sun is shining. I'm not wearing my coat that always makes me look schlunky. I'm thrilled. This is great. Okay, so I'm going to read 3 poems from my newest book, the title of which is Keeping Planes in the Air. I have a couple of copies available. And I'm just going to read 3 of these because these are the ones that have the most nature stuff in them because it's so nice out. Oh, I wanted to tell you, in my yard there are forsythia. And I know, everybody's got forsythia. They're the yellowest forsythia I've ever seen. This year, my husband I keep saying to each other, look how yellow they are. It was just the funniest thing. And I planned to write a poem about that, but I just wanted to share that image with you because it's such a lovely. They are so beautiful. This is called Before the Split. Barefoot summer days, dallied in creek water, daffodils white spring bloom, airborne by breath, long grass, white pulp chewed, feet met soil, rocks, ants, cling of cotton shorts, sweat, bees caressed honeysuckle, plucked, stripped yellow flowers, sipped sweetest part, toes scooped wet stones, practiced skimming flat ones, pocketed pink quartz, caught newts, tadpoles, toads, surveyed caterpillars climb, up oak, birch, maple bark, sting of rain, dazzling of lightning, dazzle of lightning, scudded home, daisies bending, not yet phased by future, not yet split asunder.
A field of golden daffodils.
Yeah. Here's another one that's, I wasn't sure what to do with this poem. You know how that happens, and then it ended up in a book, which is nice, but I wanted it to be like either a song or a children's piece or something like that, but it just ended up in my book. Praise to the earth. Praise to the ocean, waves and foam, bright reef fish hiding in anemone, sharks and whales doze below, above them cormorants and gannets float. To waves that roll into shore at night, the moon reflecting sea foams white, the breakers in sync with our breathing, as the buoy bell sings in the harbor. Praise to tiny creatures, amoeba and molds, bacteria, to the algae sisters, chloro, pheo, and rhodophyta, green and blue-green, lichen, moss, and plankton. Praise to nanos and eukaryotes. Praise to beach roses, pink under streetlights, to peonies, iris, and lilac. Even at midnight, inhale the scent, to the bees, safe in their hive, to evening clouds, white moon behind them, summer rain watering the gardens. Praise to writers and scribblers, the fruit in the bowl, mat on the table, water in the mug. To the record on the turntable, the hat on the hat stand, the coat on the chair. Praise to new parents walking a baby, to the restless soldier home from war. Praise to the peacemakers, to poets, listeners to the night noises, cicadas, clapping of wings, to snorers and dreamers, singers in their sleep. Praise to the earth, our home. And one more. Thank you. So I wrote this poem in Ireland on a June day, and took a walk. It's called Words Are Not Enough. Some days I realize that all I have is words, which are not enough, although I also have this body to push with, its muscles and sinew, the bit of strength in them. And there is also music, the sound of rain on canvas, the roiling of waves. My feet lead me to dunes or over stone bridges, and the smell of moss, lavender, or grape iris, and the taste of roses, fog, or salt in the wind, creak of tree sap, wails of nesting crows, orange hills at dusk, then indigo evening, and limitless starlight, which is more than I can fathom, or just enough. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the party.
Mic check. I'm Jane McFeeters Johnson. I have valued the Florence Poetry Society so much ever since I moved here about 9 or 10 years ago. And I want to recommend the table where you can get copies of the Florence Poets Silkworm, and just to help sell those books, which need your attention, I'm going to read 3 poems published in Silkworm since I came here. And the first one is Bottom Line. If what seems to be so is so, what seems to be sewed, all sewed up, then it matters. Not what we do. Indeed, what is done is indelibly done, and in deeds undone, we are too deep, and finding them too late to do. So we are done for. So how do we live when we know we won't pass long lives along? And what shall we give, knowing we've given away all that matters, all along, so there's nothing and no one is left to give anyway, to be forgiven? That was Silkworm 10 on its 10th anniversary, and this one is from Silkworm 12, Survival. This one is dedicated to my son Ben and my 4-year-old twin grandson Brock and my 4-year-old twin granddaughter Audrey. You're turning your house into a go bag, says our son, serving coffee from Brazil, tea from Japan, and a bite of last night's chocolate cake. all in storage bags, like a stash of lately legalized cannabis. Spoken or not, our topic is terror, trade-offs, unknowns. Go bag? What people in New York keep in a closet in case, he says. His twins asleep in their cribs, his own father defending his plan to finally clear out the basement, to refill it with water jugs, canned goods, jerked beef. Grandpa has fallen in love deeply and helplessly with these two little nightmares who deprive us all, wake their parents with endless, unexplained wailing, gnaw at their cocoons, flannel sacks, them safe. One is cautious, cries at odd clowns, bugs, big trucks. The other, buoyant, carefree, falls twice for laughs. For solace, they offer toys, broken crayons, hugs. We're all go bags, full of twin fears, comforts, hopes against hope. This one feels a little risky for a multi-generation audience, but maybe only if you understand Latin. And it recalls for me a time in northern Wyoming when I ran an art gallery and Sharon Olds came to read. She read several risque poems, as she is known for those. And finally, a farmhand, Wyoming cowboy kind of person in the audience raised his hand and said, "Have you got any nature poems?" And Sharon replied, "Well, these are nature poems." So think of this as a nature poem. It's called Phallus Amaryllis. Is there no such Latin for outrageous amaryllis? Elephantine nuts crack open visibly while we blush at its rising, circumcising tip. Should we hide it? How can it be so green? Then shameless, coloratura fecundus blossoms sing in ejaculation. And this is my book, Maven Reaches Mars. It seems a little like a reply to some of the poems that you just heard from Tommy and Lori. I'm going to finish with a poem that I've been working on for the past few weeks. So this is Curses, Fueled Again. Edom lay south of the Dead Sea in the Iron Age or the Bronze, and was said to be cursed by God for mistreating a brother nation. Edomites, the dead and the fled, were supplanted by brambles, their proud citadels overgrown by dense thickets of nettles and thorns, sending down strong, succoring roots until the kingdom had come to naught but a haunt for jackals, a home for owls. Judah, Canaan, the stands, brothers to the north, east, and west, gulped down the bitter dregs of the Dead Sea, tasted the sweet poison of the deep roots planted in the ancient land of Edom, and soon stooped to nettling other brothers, lands, kingdoms, powers, and glories, until jagged leaves covered with stinging hairs gave way to primeval missiles and ever taller citadels, until wild dogs and ostriches dashed off into the far corners of the earth. Ukraine, cursed by her geography, cornered north of the Black Sea and way north of the dead, caught in this web of red threads, this crucial, cruel, double-crossing net of gas lines tangled in ancient roots. Our understory stained by the dark fruits, coveted by thirsty brothers and sisters, cackling hyenas and ravens dying to occupy citadels, to split atoms, to harvest fuel composed of decomposing fossils of the accursed Edomites' blood-spattered bones. And just a little postscript. In 2020, we had 2,381 pipelines in 162 countries, 730,000 miles, enough to circle the earth 30 times.
We use those pipelines for something else.
Okay, my given name is Rufus Jaffe. I usually perform with the Magic Carpet Band under the name Haiku Voice. And I use haiku voice because I believe poetry must be oral, otherwise you cannot get the impact, the inflection, the emotion. It isn't on the page. This was in Silkworm 11. Haiku is a song of chaos and infinity that ends in union. I put together Zen with haiku, which is what a lot of haiku poets have done. And so I'm writing a book. It should be out in summer. It's called Zen Spirit. And the first chapter, I'm going to read the first 3 pages because I'm lazy and I have a short attention span. That's why I read, you know? The first chapter is entitled Kensho Rules. Kensho is the short attention deficit version of Satori. It's a blast of light that just all of a sudden appears. It doesn't blow you away, but man, it fills you with something. Satori, blinding enlightenment, life-changing. Kensho, a peek at light. Pine tree peaks from snow, where hilltop meets the gray sky, showing light promise. I have like 2 or 3 poems on a page, so I got 3 pages to go 4 minutes. Broken clouds, full moon, sparkle sky, slick trees rising, dark earth foundation. I do this every morning because out of this meditation where I seek instances of light, I ask myself, where's the light? And then I go and find it. And when I see it, I hear a haiku at the same time. I don't know where that comes from. So I search for light, notice it when it appears, and savor life's joy. Yeah!
Yeah!
Yeah! That is some pretty stiff savoring. In the circle of life, one prevails. Beech trees, hikers, spirit, energy. You'll know when I'm done because I'll sign off. Forest floor explodes. Overgrowth of undergrowth. Cardinals twinkle. I remember seeing this out the window, out the bedroom window. That's what I was looking at. Man, what a way to start a day. Pathway to the moon. Ancient pine with wishbone top, bark peeled on gnarly trunk. Man, that was a vision too. I'm awake at dawn. Loons, the rock, and Granite Lake. I am not Buddhist.
Yeah.
If you see the Buddha on the road, shoot him. That's a Zen cone. But they use a different instrument. I want to just finish also with a story of what happened to me in 1996. I was taking a course at Harvard. I finally got into Harvard. Took a course in Oriental calligraphy. And the teacher would put us through all the stuff, we'd have to make squirrels and squiggles and all that stuff. And the last 15 minutes of the class, she said, pick up the pen, pick up the brush, get the ink and the rice paper, and just do something. You're totally free. Do anything you want. That's part of Oriental calligraphy. And so I wrote a haiku with the brushes. I tried to keep the brush on the paper from start to finish because that's the tradition. And what came out, I'm trying to remember this, what came out was, peace will be at hand when a balance is found for brush, ink, and paper. She looked at it and she said, wow, do you have a book of poems? Have you written a book of poems? I said, no. I always live in the moment. I don't have much of an attention span. And so I just write them and then I forget them. She said, you can't do that. You go through you see these lights, you have a duty to make them available to all your brothers and sisters. And after that, I always wrote them down, and I'm even organizing them. Amen.
Amen.
I'm Sasha Berman. I've been writing a series called The Creative Politico for a very long time, and I hope things have changed. This is from Silkworm 6 years ago. In Malaysia, a cash incentive to revive a troubled marriage. In Khartoum, 40 lashes for a woman sporting trousers. In the desert, honor killings for those who have been deflowered. Their families have condemned them, their worth reduced to murder. Women entwined with spousal abuse, choked by purse-stringed strangulation, resources grown weak and thin, sit in shameful isolation. Some enslaved by younger children who adore their loving father, confined by valued property and college alma maters, entrapped by lack of self-esteem with undeserving lives, mystified by single life and splintered family ties. The yellow-green bruise, the swollen shut eyes, the silent tongues, words that cup deep as knives, wide eyes filling up with fear, tiny ears terrorized by what they hear, tight screams and high-pitched cries, apologies and sober lies. Fold yourself in a stronger cloak. The burning bed is not the answer. Leave frusty hinges on the broken door. Run like hell for sanity's shelter. Thank you.
Everyone out there? Are we good? I want to give you quick reminders that there's some things happening all over this area. There's kids events on the other side. And there's inside all sorts of zines you can make and all sorts of blackout poetry to be had. And there's a special poetry wheel. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can throw darts at balloons and get prompts to, write poems, which is amazing, right? With all that said, we're going to have another set of folks who came all the way out from the Berkshires to read poems for us today. Word by Word is here to read poems. Can everybody give a round of applause for Word by Word who's going to come up here? Yeah, all right. Go for it.
Hello, I am Melissa, and this is Grace, and we will both be sharing a few poems with you individually, and then we have a duet poem we will share with you at the end. Those were lean days. Every minute poured to the rim with life-enriching, if not wallet-enriching experiences. Those were lean days. Every expense measured and pinched, every pleasure shared and treasured. Those were lean days, and you were there. One of many with me side by side in the kitchen, stirring up comfort and mischief. And it was on one of those lean days, your hair steamed back from your face over the stove, my hands poised mid-air, garlic in one hand, knife in the other when you corrected me. My Italian grandmother says a knife never touches garlic. You pressed and cracked the garlic spine, caressed the skin apart from the flesh, then released the scent, just the pressure of heel of hand, and tossed the smushed clove into the sauce with ha! And a splash of wine. Never thought you'd leave this earth before your Italian grandmother. Never thought I'd be meeting her in your hospice room. Never really did get used to garlic your way, not entirely. When it's time for that tough end to come off, when it's the thin slices I'm after, when only diced or minced will do, I say a brief, sorry, Denise. And I hear forgiveness in the ha and the splash in the wine. Here, in this chapel of self-neglect, sometimes becomes now, and Zippo lighters ignite zealots. Here, buoyancy is tested in flat earth churches where Jesus trumps God. Here, money buys freedom outside of red lines, if the color is right. Here, we trade used vehicles for new ones that transport us to the same destination. A few days in a row, I was feeling a little negative. Sorry about this. Between the eyes of a Russian presidency, left brain dominates a narcissistic landscape of chess moves calculated coldly. In this game, the leaders strategize from a distance protected by propaganda and geography. Wars and crimes synonymous in this indignity where morality plays no part in the rules of engagement. And I have one more, if you can take it, and then we'll have Grace come up here. In this tale, Cold War leftovers are microwaved and served roadside, steaming cups of greed ladled into trains and schools. In this tale, the dragon speaks in memes, and the archer hubris climbs over bodies to plant his flag. In this tale, the hero is not blue, or red, or white. In this tale, the gun aimed between the villain's eyes is loaded with blanks. I am Melissa Quirk, and this is Grace Rossman!
Just want to make sure people can hear me. Yes, cool, excellent. Hello. And welcome to the Shame Spiral Theater. You did know that that's where you are right now, right? Or did you put the wrong address into Google Maps because you fuck up everything you touch? What? I never said this was gonna be fun for you. I, however, take much pleasure in presenting the finest films that your subconscious has to offer. But before we get started, quick show of hands, any first-timers? Anyone? Ah! Oh dear, some raised hands. You must be psychopaths or liars. Now, quick review of the rules. No smoking, no cell phones, no crinkly, crackly Kit Kat wrappers, and before anyone asks, there is no option to call a friend. Let's face it, your friends all hate you and they wouldn't pick up anyway. It sucks to suck, doesn't it? Now, without further ado, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Check out this first film. It's a darling little cringe compilation of all of your failed relationships. Check out this gorgeous camera angle, the way it zooms in on your face, to that corner of your lip you bit to try to keep from crying when she said, "It's not you, I just need some time alone. You know, some time to think and reorient myself." Check out this next clip of your bedroom when you were talking to yourself, convincing yourself that it really wasn't you, that those words she said were true, that they weren't her polite way of breaking it to you, that she was breaking up with you so she could screw that hot dude because she realized that you were kind of awkward and weird and not a good enough lover. And you told her you loved her after what, like a month? All I'm saying is maybe that tipped her off that you were crazy. All right, how we doing? Ready to grab those 3D glasses? In preparation for the next film we're going to see, note how the screen is now expanding around you to wrap around your field of vision. Oh, how I love immersive cinema. This next movie starts at the very beginning, when you were just a little sprout. Let's see, looks like here you've been sent out of class for, oh dear, having an age-inappropriate outburst. How unseemly. Note how the HD camera captures those little beads of sweat, the way they form a glistening ring around your forehead. Gross. Look how your eyes get red and puffy and make your face look all swollen like the grubby little gremlin that you are. What's that? Oh yes, this room did just get hot. It's not just you. We like to turn up the heat for that scene to give you the full sensory experience. There is one last scene. Let's have a watch, shall we? All right, looks like here you're re-entering the classroom. Oh, listen to the laughter from the rest of your classmates who, unlike you, were fully capable of age-appropriate emotional self-regulation. Yes, they could all do that. What on earth was wrong with you? Now, here you'll see your teacher asking you to say you're sorry after your unfortunate interruption. She's asking again, but you still haven't said it. Oh, now I get it. You're too embarrassed to speak. You can't even open your mouth, you uniquely defective piece of human waste. You'll notice that last clip is now stuck on a loop. And before you come ask me to shut off the tape, I will remind you that I am not doing this to you. It would appear that you are doing it to yourself. You twisted little masochist. So if you want the tape to stop, just stop doing it to yourself. Stop doing it to yourself, please. Dear God, stop doing it, darling. After all, blush red is not your most flattering look.
Grace Rossman. All right, we would like to close our little set here with a duet. All right. How we doing?
We're gonna be.
Are we good? Do you want to look at this one?
Spatially, yeah.
Okay. Teetering on the edge of her last nerve, she stands at the mirror trembling, palms pressed to porcelain, breathing into the chaos of another self-doubt. In the snapshot of this moment, she's a fool, she's a mess, she's unstable, and yet...
Sometimes instability is what gives us the flexibility to consider a life beyond the confines of what makes sense. In the intensity of this breakdown, this moment breaks open. And the nonsense they always told her should matter shatters like sheet glass on the bathroom floor.
And yet, urgent impulses drive knees and palms to earth, fingering the shards, seeking comfort by piecing together fragments of familiar lies. Splinters of her story lodge under fingernails, and her blood spills in silent narration of what was once her truth. And yet...
Even as the splinters of old stories tear new scars into her fingers, her red blood whispers a reminder that even when truth redefines itself all over the surface of our skin, the DNA that flows within forever remains unchanged. Still the same ancestral legend flowing through new trembling veins. And she does know that no amount of pain can take this truth away. She knows this even when she forgets. And yet...
What fortune teller reading of this palm can calm her? What kaleidoscope of shattered bones could clink this mindscape into a sensical image? She wonders all of this while laws are passed that control her body, while labels are applied to her mind and her pill bottles, while she shows up on time for work and buys her groceries and pays her bills, and still...
She does this. And still they marvel. Tell her it must be her will. Must be mind over matter, as if that's a compliment. As if the act of conquering our matter is what matters. They say that this is what makes her riveting. The underslept and over-caffeinated early morning drives, the late night, all-night overdrive.
So many of us driven to be driven. The you can have it all lie, a mere dare, that sends women into futility like Danaids filling leaky tubs for eternity. Condemned by her own sex for failing or for succeeding.
For being too much or not enough. For being both of these things at once. for getting mixed up in this mindfuck, for the times we stuck our necks a bit too high above the clouds, for crashing down, for breaking down, for the audacity of being, for choosing to make masterpieces out of shattered pieces.
She rises, shifts perspective, sees light glinting off of shards and brilliant rainbows splashing from prisms of brokenness. Looking down on this mosaic of the past, she realizes she has been holding her breath. And so,
she breathes, sees herself, a mosaic amalgamation of all the skins
snapshots
she has worn and torn. Also all the snapshots, all the moments, all the skins she has worn and torn herself free from. She sees herself now, this moment, teetering on the edge of something new. And yet.
That was us. We're here from Word by Word in Pittsfield. I'm breaking the microphone stand. We'll be doing a couple of poetry games over this direction. We'll be playing Exquisite Corpse and doing a theater game called Mind Meld. And we also, you should come and talk to us about being a part of the world's largest poem.
So
how about that? Once in a lifetime opportunity, folks.
Hello, my name is Marcia Pelletier. I'm kind of new in this area. I've just moved here from New Hampshire, and I live in Northampton now. I've been writing poems for quite a few years because I have about 500 some poems now. This is poem 335, and I also record the month and the year when I do it, so it's like a history that you can trace through and see what my thoughts were during that time. And my poem is a little different from a lot of the poems you've heard.
A little quick.
Before. This is a quick one.
No, I mean the quick one means this. It's like it's a little, it's gotta go
moving.
right in the middle, right there. I know, it's weird. You're good.
Okay, very good.
There you go.
Thank you. Now I'm all set. Okay, so this poem is named Rumors. A few really knew for sure. They were but a few. The rest supposed they were not there. Of the few that really knew, never mentioned but remained unspoken, but of those that were not there, unforeseen, remained outspoken. Broken edges wedged between, they could not stop talking, had a few words obscene, and continued telling more than a few who were also not there. Now nobody was there that knew the truth, for the few that knew never mentioned. So if you know something, anything at all, easily pointed out by chance, find the source before advancing coincidence. Indebted, I'm sure, to the words that came round the back door knocking pure as obscure, do they not know the difference? For I do not remember it at all that way. After all, I was there. Thank you. I've got this hat on because I'm doing the children's area, so if we have any children that want to come, I'm doing some children things on the other side of the building. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Manny. How you doing? All right. Listen, we got some stuff inside. Let's go through it. We've got fun and stuff. We got a petition in there. There's no Massachusetts State Poet Laureate. We need one of them. So there's a bill in there. Go sign it. It's gonna go to some senators and House of whoever's, Okay. We got a slate roof press in there. We got zine making. I don't know if you know what a zine is. It's like a magazine, but without the MAGA, which is a good thing. And we got happenings. Lots of happenings. Okay? Don't be shy.
There's still events happening all over the area. There's events out in front, and there's events in here, and there's events over there. But right now we have poets who are going to read for us. And the Smith poets are going to read. A bunch of folks from Smith who have been great volunteers for us in the last, helping to put this whole together. And speaking of putting things together, Things like this take lots of time and love and effort, and that's what Rachel's been putting in, and they also take money. So if by chance you have a little cash in your pocket, there's a donation jar over there. And if you wanted to put that cash in the donation jar, that would be the very helpful part of all of this. So, with all of that said, what I really want to do is introduce these poets who are going to come on up. Please welcome the Smith Poets. Yay!
Hi, I'm Melissa, and I have stage fright. So I'm happy to perform for you, but please keep your eyes on the person sitting next to you. Please don't look at me. I'm really not that interesting to look at anyway. I'm too tall, I stand out, so look at your neighbor. If they're more interesting to look at than me. Look at their eyes. Their eyes are more interesting than me. What do their eyes tell you about them? Are their eyes kind? Are they tired? Do their eyes need help seeing? They're more interesting to look at than me. Keep looking at their eyes. What does it feel like to look in this person's eyes? Do you know this person? Are they a family member? Does someone love them? Do you love them? I'm not that interesting. Please don't look at me. Keep looking at their eyes. Someone must know them. They probably have a family. Maybe they don't. What is a family? Was their family chosen for them or by them? Or are they alone? I'm not important. Please don't look at me. Look at their hair. Is it there? If it is it short or is it long? Did they choose their color or was it the color chosen for them? How is it cut? Is it cut? They're beautiful. You don't need to look at me. They're looking at you. What do they see? What are they noticing? Do they know how my day went? Do they know how life got me here? Don't look at me. I'm not that interesting. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. What are we to each other? How long ago did we meet? Are we smiling? Maybe we should smile. Do I like my smile? Do they like my smile? Do I really want to smile? What is hidden behind my smile? I'm going to stop smiling. I'm looking at the person next to me. They're looking at me. Do they know my struggles? Do they know how I feel right now? Do they care? Should they care? I notice in their eyes, their glasses, their contacts, the shadows. I see myself reflected in them. I'm not that interesting. Why are they looking at me? They're interesting. They have a story. They're listening. They think I'm interesting. They think I have a story. Look at me. Please look at me. I'm begging you, please look at me. I see so much myself in you. We have more in common than we have differences. We're all in this together, and I'm not afraid. And I have one more for you. Thankfully, the temperature's pretty good today, but 32 degrees. I watch as everything will freeze. I yearn for the warmth so I can rip off this heavy jacket. 40 degrees. It's raining now, or is it sleet? I need to go somewhere with some heat. 50 degrees. I trade my heavy jacket for a hoodie. Rain. Darn. Soaked in cold. 63 degrees. I take my morning jog to feel as warm as the summer I yearn for. 70 degrees. This is perfect. I know it's late spring, but let this be summer. I want to freeze in time with this weather. 75 degrees. Okay, this is fine. There's a breeze. 80 degrees. I stopped taking my morning run. In this heat, I'm sweating my buns. 90 degrees. This isn't fun. I feel like I need to stay out of the sun. 98 degrees. Why would they name a boy band after this? Nobody wants to be this hot. 120 degrees. I get why they call it Death Valley. I know. Take me somewhere else. 70 degrees. This is perfect. I never want to leave. 40 degrees. Here we go again. In the direction of 32 degrees and a long freeze. And I'd like to introduce M, who will be reading for you next.
Hi everybody, can we get another big round of applause for Melissa? She is going to medical school in the fall, which is so exciting. So excited for her. All right, my name is M, and I'll be reading for you guys 3 poems today. The first one is Sapphic Source, and it's after Tom and Fen Rosenthal. Our Ice Age love, thawed raw scientists sugging affection, summons a sickness they feared since before time. Determined to recreate us no matter the cost, they try mapping out our meteor eyes, prying at my memorized impact site beneath your breast before my stomach supernovas. They are tracking survival, as if we can be deemed natural and selected at the same time. They want to know how I chose, closed my arms around you and dialed the sun back, so the light would shine on your long neck, so I could start a species of kisses down your jugular, with the fossils they fondle until once we are gone. All this as if I could stop it all. Evolution? No. Something grander, less generational. Maybe you saw the sky collapsing and still gazed over my mouth, not a wisp on your lips of a goodbye, and the scientists want something more tangible than ghost chomping on the same branch together. They still dissect our phantoms to fathom that we have always been here. We have always been here. Our love prehistoric. They invented a history to claim our extinction. Thank you. Okay, this next one has a quick content warning for some suicidal ideation. Learning to love spring as if I don't want to die anymore. 1. Because nurturing this nature grubs up, doesn't it? When you keep hitting bedrock and rock the bed you suit and crumble the hands that miracled your growth, you wild your firebud until you are tired of burning, asking if ash makes good fertilizer. And fertilizer are always wanting to weed, aren't they? Aren't you tired of watering when you can't ground, of rooting in rooms you can't feel, of rolling your ankles into new seasons as if that will make this feeling go away? And how did you let the landscape get so soft anyway? Why can't you get out of bed to see the flower beds? And what happened to breaking your back, reframing the plants, the thoughts? What happened to grow through what you go through? What happened to all the hatchets you buried? What did they come up as? Didn't one of the therapists you couldn't afford tell you that you were always going to be sick, so now you don't really get spring fever, you just dirt mouth as the earth cancers? And how are you going to fix that? The earth, the cancer, all that you cause and still mushroom over? Or is this the part where you realize your weeping and willowing does not avoid the fact that the days are greener, the world longer, that there is so much life left to burst, and you said you would try to be more grateful? 2. If the bugs get you panicky, just find something that makes you buzz. And if you say nothing, then at least observe the noise. Lionize the dandelions, get any dreams into the wind, give parking lot daisies to the kids dragged into the DMV so they have something to play with instead of their parents' patience. Start opening the blinds again, because every day you wake up, and even if you didn't sleep, at least there's always a new sky to welcome you. If you can't alter your surroundings, you can at least alter the little things. Parking lot sunsets, peach pits, pinches of spilled salt tossed over shoulders. Tell your friends you love them for no good reason, because that's the best explanation. Spring clouds are the tender kind that ask you to get coffee together, even for the last time. And isn't it stargazing season or time to see the city lights? Have you ever actually breathed in enough night air to last you until the last one? Wait until you get to see your found little sister graduate high school, or your found parent get through college. At least let the spring humble you to know that the earth is not a cold, dead place. 3. You can know nothing about plants to know you garden whatever you push into holes. None of this pixie manic magic can replace an appointment, but maybe this can be a vessel to one. No body, no temple, you can still poke at your crust and mantle and hate the thickness, but feel the heat beneath of the organs that keep fighting more than you do. You don't need to believe, you just want the hard things to accept simplicity. Promise there will be a planet whether you planet or plummet, but wouldn't it be nice to see the life come back to this place? And whether that reaches or ricochets, may the daylights rise. And my last poem is Neon Law Pop. 747 sags on our shoulders. We traced the skyline chariot. We shimmied the summer in shimmers, simmering our stomachs until we could lay down and call ourselves landscapes. Jacketed and restless, we catch light in 7-Eleven black coffees and black skies. There are arms, and legs, and etc. Sacred geometry chasing these shapes till the sky concaves. May this highway never end. May this always be in motion. Thank you. And for our next poet from Smith, we have Emma O'Neill, who is graduating this year. Also very exciting. Give a big round of applause for her.
I just want to give another round of applause for Em. They're part of the reason why all of us Smith students are here today. And they're also part of the reason why I write poetry now. So I owe a lot to them. I have 3 poems for you today. Let's see, the first one, I think this needs to, there we go. The first one is called Worms and Snails. Wet like a cat's nose, like tears on eyelashes, you lifted them from the sidewalk on our first last day. You wormed your way into my heart. Does this make me an apple rotten to the core? Your love, a shell home on my back. I bore its weight, but I never saw the cracks. Worms and snails, living beneath the ground I race over on the train. The water that paints my window reaches down to find them. A wet leaf clings to the window, never budging, in all the miles from where you are to where I will be. Tomorrow when the sun comes out, will you salvage their soft bodies, and will they know to crawl away before you're bored with them? Or will they cling to your hand like a leaf to my window? This next poem is called Blind Spots. I will be trying forever to capture the beauty of blindness. A blind rock climber in a documentary I saw once described it well, but in technical terms. I've lost his words like I'm losing my memories, but unlike my sight, I can't get them back. When I remember blindness, I try to remember the sand, the sun, my body, shapeless, color bleeding, like a wet paintbrush touching a paper towel, the world around me a reflection in a pearl, beyond abstract, beyond abstraction. When I remember blindness, I try to forget piercing light, darkness, prying fingers, strangers' sharpness, prying questions, eyes forced so wide open that my head tipped back unbidden. I will always distill my time of blindness to a moment on the beach with a friend and arm's reach behind me, there to guide me when I needed, and listen to me explain how my not seeing looked like art. I have one more. Yeah. Y'all have heard this one. This poem is called Treasures at the Queer Vintage Yard Sale. Yeah! Ascots embroidered with animal faces, allowing themselves to be admired by all the human hands and eyes. Baby smooth box the color of blush and berries, where 80s babes stored the tools of their beauty. Candelabras, crisp and gleaming, clinking like cheers of crystal glasses when cupped together by a customer's hand. Darlings and sweethearts with darting eyes and ducking heads, drawing out their purses when it dawns on them that, dear, don't we need another decoupage doorstopper? Earfuls of gossip, eagerly eaten up by the early bird customers and the eagle-eared cashier. 4 funky frayed denim shorts for fabulous future fashionistas. Gorgeous grandma gowns and garters that seem to gasp gosh and golly gee at the gawkers. Half strangers with hearts bare, hoping to find some hellish kitsch to hand to a someday honey. Imaginings of an inky past, an iridescent future, an inconceivable yet inevitable time, filled with at least some of these intimate, inanimate idols and the feelings they inspired. Just enough jealousy of the joyful past lives of this junk to make a person want to jump into their own future. Thank you. Next up, we have a truly amazing poet and person, Emily.
Woo! Mr. Girlfriend!
Hello, my name is Emily, and I'm going to be reading 2 poems for you today. The first poem that I'm going to be reading is called Retail Retina. Retail Retina, after Lisa Mueller. Given the fact that I can't see, I've taken to trying to liminal my spaces into something that reflects my foggy vision. Legally, letters look like lentils, scattered across a page with a thin layer of ghost to coat them. Theoretically, the seams between sentences shouldn't smudge together. In passing, the white of the word isn't supposed to warp and pop and buzz like it does. I regret you don't see the way I do, though. I wish, just for a moment, I could give you a line so you could see things through my point of view. But I'm heavy in my pilgrimage to put you in perspective. Please be kind. One day, you too will stand at the precipice of an eye chart and never forgive yourself for the ones that got away. Trepidation trapped on a slimy, smooth, white-walled, blue-burned cornea. The times you stared into the sun a little too long, still singed into cells. The days when the teacher stood and turned off the lights, and the afterglow still stung like acid. It all began with soccer balls and dinosaurs and ladybugs, and traveled into Dora and Black, and gold with rhinestones, and Windows saving screen, and now my Quicksilver highbrow of a not-surprised 30-minute decision. But I love my stereotype, and I will hold on to it like water off a duck's back. I know I'm not supposed to, but it seeps its way into my feathers, and I'm okay with it. Given the fact that I am dramatic, I wish you the best when you look back at your city of grains of salt and see the world only through perfect eyes. I'm sorry you didn't get the chance to make gas lamps into angels. I'm sorry you never got to watch sunlight scatter not through raindrops, but retinas. Most of all, I'm sorry your eyes aren't shaped like what it takes to see love in the world.
Woo! That's my baby!
And this second one is called She's a Runner, She's a Track Star. And I actually end up referencing the first poem in this poem. I black and white my way around the world until I hit gray, and then I run. Back to the contrast. Starkness, understandable, does not try to trick you, does not have a maybe. Yes or no. I do not have to worry about its emotions. It will tell me how I feel. It will do the laundry, and it will take the shower, and do the homework, and talk with the friends, and eat the food, and breathe, and live, and I need contrast. Outside, because I am gray sludge fudge. I am calcium mud. I concreted my bones so long ago that I am now just one of those rolling mixy trucks you see on the highway like 7 times a year, and each time think, wow, if only I could spin like that. If only I could mix myself up into possibility. If only I could fudge my sludge. I am buzzing with microscopic pebbles that once were ambered to my bones by mental illness and now have fizzled into chaos, halting therapy. A long time ago, I said I liminal my spaces. I still do, I think. The old ones filled with cobwebs and the new ones drip grinning out at me with gaping razor teeth. I think I have to go now. I have to go. I cannot go. I am glued to this chair by my own concrete indecision. I cannot go. I cannot go. I think I will go. Thank you. Yeah! And next up, we have Aoife.
Hi, it's so wonderful to be here today. So thank you for having me. I have 4 poems I'm going to read. This first one's after Jenny Johnson's In the Dream. In the dream, I lay flat, splay-limbed afloat in the ocean. Beside me, you bob with the palpitation of waves. Your hair spools out, stirring weightless, leafing around our drifting forms. The stunning simplicity of your hands seeking way to me elicits blush, proceeds, borderline boastful. Oh my god, thank you. Start over, oh my gosh, okay. Yeah, this is after Jenny Johnson's In the Dream. In the dream, I lay flat, splay-limbed, afloat in the ocean. Beside me, you bob with the palpitation of waves. Your hair spools out, stirring weightless, leafing around our drifting forms. The stunning simplicity of your hands seeking way to me elicits blush, precedes borderline boastful recollection of all the times we touched, how gentle you were when braiding my hair.
There it is.
Okay, this next one is called In Hindsight. In hindsight, thank God. Thank the cardinal leaves. Thank the storm shelter of sanity that was our fracturing. Thank the leaving, the deviation of river into 2, the moving away. Thank the fall for letting me out, mostly alive. Thank the scraps for growing my claws, the same calcium that builds a bull's horns. Thank my favorite shoes, the lack of blisters birthed when bolting. Thank the worn-in leather, the long disappeared treads. Thank steadiness for rooting in my gums. Thank the first plate shattered, the blood. Thank the genius of my mother, she was right about it all. Wispy remnants of nightly prayers, stacking fears in restless piles, lulling myself towards the balance between what I yearn to believe and who I am when walking home alone. Negative balance pulling me deeper into the never-ending tunnel where I catch the 4 to Midtown. In the train windows, my brain sees itself chemically imbalanced, hot tea with too much milk. Subway glass reflecting the kind of sick that taunts. Even if you wanted, you couldn't hold it all. Exquisite ache takes over legs and arms, steeps in the spine, coveting the lungs who are still attempting the balance of breathing. Like an always upright canoe, steady in its begging, in its sincerity, whose fear of capsize is a cry for balance, a silent whale unwinding, a Plato snake, a coil made skinny, delicate at its ends and thick, unbalanced in the middle, rolled under palms until destroyed. Tears slip to my tongue in mismatched pieces. I wait anxious for salt, the sting of being alive and knowing it. My out-of-balance hips pull hamstring sinews tight past the point of my body announcing aliveness with repetition, steady, balanced rhythm, in times with my steps, proof there is survival for the haunted, a fawn who refuses death, legs whip it thin, miraculous in its ability to identify balance only minutes after birth. All right, and this is my last one. It's an Ars Poetica.
Yeah.
Yelling, speaking into containers, pushing away the hollow, holding words for later. Nourishment in hungrier times, defiance of death, each word roulette for survival. My palmful of loss keeps growing while I keep waking, drinking coffee settled on the side of the road sofa, eating the world when I can, feasting, telling my living I love you, see you soon, talk tomorrow. Thank you guys.
That's all of our poets from Smith today, but thank you all so much for coming to the carnival, and a big thank you to Rachel for helping put this all together, and to Tara for introducing us, and hope you guys have a great afternoon.
A very cool, very poetry carnival thing happened. And you're like, Tara, how do you know it's a poetry carnival thing? Well, because it's a poetry carnival and there's no rules and I say it's a poetry carnival thing, right, Rachel? Anywho, Word by Word was running a little workshop, a little Exquisite Corpse workshop, and these folks just wrote a bunch of poems, and now they're going to read their poems to you. So would you welcome these brand new poets up to the stage who just wrote these brand new poems? As we would say in Northampton poetry, new shit.
New shit. Woo! I'll just quickly explain what Exquisite Corpse is. For those of you, you might know the art form of it, right? Where you have like a face that's different than the breasts, that's different than the belly, that's different than the legs. So we each had a line of poetry that we wrote, and we passed it to the next person, and they wrote a line, and then they folded it, so that at any given time, the participant only saw the line of poem immediately preceding the one they needed to write. And what you are going to hear is an amalgamation of interesting thoughts. The original poet then had the opportunity to close it out with a closing thought. Ladies and gentlemen, our first Exquisite Corpse poem.
Wacky and wild, we merry band of misfits frolic nonsensically in the sunshine. Gregory Corso just took my $10 and never showed up again. My dog was choking and it scared us last night. Fear washed over us. We didn't know what to say, but we knew it was hopeless. Don't despair of the darkness. Glad, not sad, of the fun Sunday. Winter in the rear view, high up the road, bridging the distance between the before times and tomorrow.
Greetings, Earthlings. Allen Ginsberg Star Shower and Haley Bob Comet for his passing 1997, 4/27, April 27, 25 years. Remembering and thinking of loved ones, all the smiles that still keep me warm, never spread like I told them to. Freak out, gut, over and out. Freak out, over and out. Fun, 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 fun. Seabed so far below my heart. Grated shells scrap my intestines. I feel the sting inside wondering what shades of lavender suit me. Motor City advertisers make us live in caves from global warming and the great gasoline extinction and nuclear war.
Thank you.
Yay, poet!
Thanks, that was fun.
That was fun.
Thanks, WordX Works, for this opportunity.
Right there.
So few times I witnessed her laugh, but then on the amusement ride, she lost her breath. And the ride and breath and loss all blending together onto one delicious mixture of delicious friendship and sunlight. Melanoma, not salmonella. Beethoven's favorite fruit is banana. Banana is Beethoven's greatest inspiration. And green moss is Mozart's favorite fruit. He loves it, for it soaks up all good things like a sponge, hard and soft. End of sun, here's rain. End of rain, here's laughter.
Even when Kim doesn't write her own poetry, she's always a hard act to follow. All right, I'm Maria, and yes, thank you very much, word by word, for introducing me to this fantastic way to write poetry. Networks whispering underground, like root systems passing nutrients between outstretched arms. We rise as we dig deep. Thank God the death liar pig didn't get reelected. Appreciation is a wonderful, appreciate the little things. Dandelions brightly colored with happiness. But that dandelion fell asleep today. Deep in my heart, I have a dream of you, glad to be in the sun. When my feet are in the mud, billions of years converge into now.
Okay, I alone am responsible for the first and last lines, and the rest was all of us. Here we go. Sweaty shoes sag comfortably. William Burroughs played William Tell at this killer production in NOLA. It's warm and sunny, and my heart is full. The people around me spread kindness. I want to keep spreading it back, but it keeps on pushing me forward to the outer limits of existence. What a fun, sunny day. Edgar Allan Poe said never, leaving out the empty never again. Why bother with a promise we all know will not be kept? Accept the soul in the soul of these comfortable shoes, this comfortable space, these comfortable words. Ladies and gentlemen, Exquisite Corpses, one and all!